Equipment danger or interface zones. The danger zone/interface zones are defined as the areas around operating machines or working personnel, in which there is potential for being struck by moving equipment or objects. The danger zone may vary according to the machine or work being performed. Operators must make sure that all persons, vehicles, and equipment are clear of the bulldozer interface zones before the vehicle or its components are moved. Bulldozer interface zones. Yellow zone. All personnel approaching the equipment must do so from this zone to gain visual contact with the equipment operator. Amber zone. A 20-foot zone where entry is prohibited until positive visual contact is confirmed by the operator. Example, thumbs up, the dipper arm/hydraulics are grounded, the machine is immobilized using the safety lever and the engine is switched off. Red zone. A 10-foot zone where entry is prohibited unless the machine is completely isolated, the engine is switched off and a specific safe system of work is in place that prevents the machine being operated either inadvertently or deliberately. General safety precautions. Operators must always use seat belts when operating a bulldozer. Use of a strobe light or headlight is required while working. Ensure that you check the work area for obstructions and hazards including ditches, slopes, hills, excavations, streams, and underground and above-ground utility lines or poles. Make sure you are aware of all other equipment, vehicles, and workers in the area. Do not attempt to operate in areas with inadequate illumination. Inform your supervisor to arrange for additional lighting. Also, conduct a general hazard and risk assessment before starting the job. Conduct a JSA for any job outside of the normal scope of work. Begin working or pushing material and always maintain a safe distance from all area hazards. When backing up, make sure you have a good vision of the work danger zones, noting all workers and other equipment or vehicles in the vicinity. Remain cognizant of your position on a bench, stockpile, or waste pile. Eliminate distractions while operating equipment. Stop if you need to, eliminate the distraction, and then continue your work. Daily operational planning. Attend the pre-shift meeting to find out relevant operational information along with any known hazards or situations relating to the task for your shift. Dozer operators must receive direction from the supervisor and plan their work before commencing the needed tasks. Plan your travel route identifying traffic patterns, be aware of personnel working in the vicinity, and other equipment in the work area, conveyors, skid steers, loaders, haul trucks, or excavators. It is your responsibility to inform your supervisor if you are not task-trained on the specific model of equipment you are directed to operate. Do not operate it until you have documented task training. Know and understand emergency controls for the equipment you operate, it will save your life. Personal protective equipment. Hard hat, safety glasses, high-vis clothing items, and hard-toed shoes as a minimum are required to be worn when outside the equipment. This is also applicable in an open-cabbed model. Hard hat is not required to be worn inside the cab. Safety boots in good condition, properly laced, must always be worn. Worn-out soles and heels could lead to slips and falls. Eye protection will be worn where there is danger of falling or flying debris from equipment or loads, especially in windy conditions. Hand protection will be worn when handling cable or any other material where there is danger of cuts or puncture injury. Hearing protection will be worn when exposed to noise levels exceeding 85 dBA. Pre-start/pre-operational check. General inspection. Bulldozers will be inspected for good mechanical condition prior to use. Always perform a pre-shift inspection, including a 360 degrees walk around before getting on any piece of equipment. Thoroughly review and understand information provided in the operator's manual with particular attention given to descriptions of controls and safety procedures. Always use 3 points of contact to climb on, enter, and exit the machine using only the steps and handholds provided on the bulldozer. Pre-startup. Check all fluid levels, including engine oil, coolant, transmission and hydraulic oil and air cleaner. Check brakes, steering, lights and signals, tracks, hydraulic cylinders/lines, horns, operating controls, seat belt and safety devices. The bulldozer must be equipped with an automatic backup alarm. Maintain all equipment window glass, it should be clean and in good repair. Be aware of and understand the dash and warning light system for the model you are operating. If a dozer fails the pre-shift inspection, notify your supervisor, and remove the dozer from service by attaching a tag stating, "Do not use" or "Do not operate." Note the reason, date, and your name on the tag. Operating unsafe equipment is not allowed and could be potentially dangerous to operate. Check the dozer blade for cracks and wear. Check cutting edges and ripper teeth. Check all hydraulic cylinders for leaks, damage, or excessive wear. Ensure the fire extinguisher is mounted and serviceable. Check cabs for cleanliness. Keeping floors free of equipment, chains, supplies, and unauthorized tools or other materials. Ensure there is no damage to the cab and there is a ROPS, rollover protective structure, label within the cab. Check tracks for broken segments and segment bolts. Engine start. Start the bulldozer and let it warm up. Test the machine functions to ensure proper operation. Complete the documented pre-op inspection before leaving the immediate area. Cab inspections, housekeeping. Bulldozers operate in locations that expose operators to haulage road dust and dust from equipment like high-wall drills and front-end loaders. These activities, combined with the typical dozer work cycle, expose bulldozer operators to quartz containing dust produced when removing overburden. Exposure to dust-containing quartz particles is far more dangerous to the lungs than dust alone. Always ensure that all dust controls on the bulldozer, such as enclosed cabs, are in place, in good repair, and operating as required. Maintain window and door glass and heating, ventilation, and air conditioning (HVAC) systems as specified by the manufacturer. Document any damaged, defective, or missing components. Document cab areas that should be plugged or sealed with silicone, including in used holes, access ports, seams, and gaps to keep out dust. Use a flashlight to check for gaps. Clean or replace air conditioning and recirculation/pressurization filters. Keep environmental cabs clean inside by using vacuum cleaners. Never use compressed air or dry sweeping. Keep cab doors and windows closed. Ensure objects inside of the cab are secured so they don't become airborne during an accident. Cabs, steps, and mirrors must always be kept clean. Items shall not be stored on the floor of the cab, as it may affect the operator's control of the equipment. Grease tubes, diesel exhaust fluid, and other chemicals are not permitted inside the cab. Window cleaning products are acceptable to be stored there during the shift, but cannot on a continuous basis. Dozing procedures and precautions. Workplace exams. A competent person should look closely at any work area around a drop-off for signs of instability, including cracks, sloughs, or changes in seepage/adjacent water levels when conducting an inspection. The grade of the slope that is safe to work on is determined by such factors as condition of the ground, load being handled, and the type of dozer. Stop, observe, and assess the slope before working on it. Perform additional checks during the work shift to ensure ground conditions have not changed when the edge of a slope cannot be seen from the operator's position. Grade positioning. Proper gear selection must be used to maintain control. Drive according to terrain conditions. When dozing or trimming down a grade or pushing to bank or edge, place the dozer in a face-down direction with the dozer blade. Never place the dozer sideways to the slope or bank. Operate straight up and down slopes whenever possible. Sidehill operation reduces stability, which could cause machine rollover. Never reverse towards the edge of a steep bank. Keep work areas as smooth as possible. This results in easier maneuvering and minimizes operator fatigue. To maintain a smooth surface, make a small cut carrying material in front of the blade. When dozing to an excavator or loader, make sure you and the excavator or loader work together to accomplish the work together to avoid equipment damage or personnel injuries. If you need to turn a dozer while pushing material, use the dozer tilt or clutch only. When dozing soft or unconsolidated material, be aware of changes in the footing under you and immediately back out of material that feels like it is softening. Should the dozer start slipping sideways on a grade, turn it immediately in the direction of the downgrade and lower the blade. High wall positioning. When dozing toward a high wall edge, constantly examine the ground surface for development of cracks or fissures indicating separation. Push perpendicular to the high wall face, and always keep a full blade in front of you. Maintain a safe distance from the edge of the high wall. Use technology equipment or a spotter to assist equipment operators when working near high walls. Be attentive to changes in ground conditions and visibility. Watch for surface cracks and loose material near high walls. Keep the dozer blade between you and the edge when operating close to drop-offs. Dump loads short of the high wall edge and push one load into another to maintain a safe distance from the edge. Do not operate parallel to the high wall edge, always push towards it. Obstacles. Check the location of buried pipelines, gas lines, or other buried utilities or material. Do not obstruct your vision when traveling or working. Carry the blade in a low position for the maximum visibility. Avoid going over obstacles such as rough terrain, rocks, logs, ditches, and ridges whenever possible. The size and type of obstacles that can be safely crossed will depend on many factors including good judgment. When obstructions must be crossed, do so with extreme care at an angle, when possible. Berms shall be constructed at a minimum height which is equivalent to mid-axle height of the largest vehicle/equipment operating in that area or road. Berms shall be made of substantial materials and inspected throughout the day. Distractions while operating. Radios and lights are a distraction while operating equipment. Radios shall be kept at low levels, allowing audible awareness of surrounding equipment and alarms. Cell phones or their usage shall not be a distraction while operating equipment. Headphones and earbuds are not authorized while operating equipment. When communicating with other personnel, stop your equipment to alleviate a distraction. Pushing of other equipment. Notify supervisor of stuck equipment and never tow stuck equipment without the direction of a supervisor. Pushing of dump trucks is not allowed as they will cause damage to the bumpers and rear suspension bags. Road work. While operating on traveled roads, keep right, especially on corners and hills. When pushing out a road, avoid pushing debris, for example, stumps, trees, rocks, and dirt, into standing timber. Do not create hang-ups. Be aware of any dead limbs of a tree that may endanger a worker and hung-up freeze as they are encountered along roadways. Brush piles will be leveled so that harvesting equipment does not get hung up in them. Roads will be made to proper width, with sufficient turnarounds and turnouts. Road will be kept free of hazards, for example, stumps, rocks, and debris. Keep well back from other working equipment when they are cutting roadways. Avoid overheating brakes. During operation, maintain dozer stability and avoid turning sideways. Frequently check gauges to be sure fluid temps and pressures are adequate, preventing engine shutdown and transmission shifting. Operating near water. When working near water is necessary, life jackets or personal flotation devices, PFDs, are required in the machine. PFDs will be worn by persons performing work where there is a danger of falling in the water. This is any time within 10 feet of water's edge. The water level, in a body of water, or elevation should be maintained as low as practicable. Night work should not be performed without adequate lighting, and equipment should work in pairs or others should maintain visual/verbal contact with solo equipment. Use equipment, excavator, that can perform the work from a safe distance away from the edge of a pond where the stability of the ground may be unknown. Specific procedures for ripping. Complete a visual check inspection of machine and surrounding area. Complete a visual inspection of ripper shank and tooth before commencing work. Only allow the ripper shank to penetrate the earth to a depth of no more than 1 to 2 feet. Always rip in one direction and then rip in the other direction, creating a crosshatch pattern. #. When encountering large frost lumps, push them out of way. Do not turn the dozer while the ripper is penetrating the ground. Only rip in first gear. Prior to exiting the cab, check the controls and be sure that they are in neutral position, and the blade is lowered to ground. The ripper blade shall be placed onto the ground if the operator exits the cab. Specific to frozen conditions. Ripping to be done in first gear and the ripping pattern as directed by the supervisor. The ripper is not to be used for breaking up frost lumps. Never work alone near frozen ponds, sumps, or ditches, and or never work or travel parallel to the crest on frozen slopes. Never travel on frozen slopes or ramps without proper preparation, always maintaining safe footing of the machine. Parking and fueling procedures. Parking. When exiting the dozer, park in a designated area. The bulldozer must be parked on level ground, clear of hazards, to allow ease of access. Place power attachments to the ground and place in neutral, put on the parking brake, and do a hot engine cool down. When the engine is cool, turn it off. Parking on a surge pile or belt feeder under a tunnel is not authorized due to the danger of engulfment when exiting the equipment. Avoid parking on gradient or haul roads. If parking on a haul road is required, pick the safest location away from main traffic. Keep idle for a few minutes and switch off the ignition key. Then close and lock the cabin or as directed. Cut off power from cutoff switch. Always use 3 points of contact when dismounting the machine. Clean tracks off at the end of every shift. Fueling and spills. Shut off the engine while fueling. No smoking. Be aware of slip and trip hazards. When parking at fueling area, ensure spill mats are on the ground between fuel tank and equipment to catch any spilled material. Place any spilled material, creating contaminated soils, immediately into containment device and document on OHSEF 14, environmental spill or release report or other form as required by worksite. If equipment breaks causing contamination to the soil and a spill occurs, contain spill by use of spill kits or mats and document on HSEF 14 form and report to supervisor and maintenance. Beware of spills and splashback. Return the fuel hose to its proper storage position when fueling is completed. Grease your machine only after refueling. Do not refuel and grease simultaneously as a fuel spill may occur. Servicing and repairs. When being serviced in an active dump or placement area, always park so that the dozer is facing the active working area. The dozer must park first, and then fuel/lube truck may make the final approach. After servicing is complete, walk the dozer slowly away from the lube truck in a forward direction, never back away from the lube truck. When working under or around bulldozers, for maintenance inspections or repairs, the bulldozer must be locked and tagged out, and immobilized and secured against inadvertent movement. Lockout procedures must be followed during mechanical service, repairs, or inspection for the protection of employees and equipment. Communications while assisting in mechanical repairs. When operators are assisting mechanics to repair machines, clear communications must be established prior to starting the tasks. The operator and the mechanic must each know who will be responsible for A. Starting or moving a machine. B. Ensuring that anyone involved is in a clear and safe position. C. Directing the movement of the machine, and D. Ensuring that it is safe to resume working and that all guards are in place. The operator must have a clear understanding of what is to be done and follow the specific lockout instructions and instructions given by the mechanic responsible for performing the job. The importance of safety. With the mining industry's activities, increasing pressure on mining companies to stay competitive through productivity enhancements while keeping employees safe is a major focus and an essential aspect of daily operations. Having SWPs in accordance with safety guidelines is an essential part of the goal of ensuring accident and fatality-free mines, whilst improving efficiency, maintaining production goals, and reducing lost workdays.